First day of pads. Take a deep breath. What is up, Finn fans? Yes, today is the first day of pads, and hopefully I can help everyone get off the ledge, because it was a very big defensive day today. And from just scrolling through my Twitter, a lot of people are freaking out over the first day of pads. So I'm going to try my best to talk a bunch of people off the ledge and hopefully make you guys feel better. But does that mean that it wasn't a horrible day by the offense? No. But I'll get to that. Real quick, though, I want to talk about yesterday, right? Eric Rowe talked with media after practice, and he said a quote that everyone's talking about, and everyone keeps asking my opinion on it. So I'm going to read the quote, I'll pop it up, and I'll give you my quick opinion on it, and then we'll go into what happened on camp today. So someone asked, from the defensive perspective, the biggest difference to you in quarterback Tua from last August to now, is it accuracy? Is it deep ball? Is it release? What stands out to you? And Eric Rowe says, he's always had accuracy. That was never a problem. He's always had accuracy. He's always had that zip. He's always had the power. It's just believing in that year two jump everyone needs to make from the rookie year. Obviously, the type of offense. Last year, I even noticed his playbook was condensed to slants and bubbles. They really wouldn't let him show his arm, and now seeing in training camp he's got a lot more deep routes. They're allowing him the opportunity to throw deep. That's what we need. And you could take, there's two different ends of the spectrum on that quote, and, some people say, well, they limited his play, what he could do because he didn't understand the full playbook, which, yes. Then you can also say, well, they limited probably what he was doing because he wasn't fully healthy. Yes. There's a bunch of things. My opinion on it is I don't care anymore. That was last year, regardless if you knew the full playbook last year, regardless of, him being a check down to a last year, regardless of anything that happened last year, that was last year. I'm now judging this kid on this year. If he does well this year, cool. Let's move forward. If he does horrible this year, that's a problem. We need to address it. I'm talking about and doing everything this year. Last year was last year. He shouldn't have, in my opinion, he shouldn't have played last year. There's a lot of things that I've talked about in nauseum over and over and over and over again. It is what it is. But Eric Rowe noticed some things, and you could take it any way you want. But yes, today is the first day of pads, and it was a boring day. Also, I want to reiterate something. When fans are there, they're not going to be doing all of their plays. They're probably going to give you the bare minimum. They're going to give you very fundamental working on those days, because you guys are recording it and you're posting it to your social media and it's getting out there. They don't want the opponents to see and be able to study film that we are recording during training camp, because you guys aren't supposed to be recording during training camp, but we do. Why not? But the reporters and the beat writers and everything, when the camp is closed to the public, they're contractually obligated to not record, not report on the depth, not report on certain plays, all that stuff. So, that being said, a lot of the stuff you're seeing during training camp is kind of a lot of stuff that you're going to see during preseason. A lot of what you're looking for the people who are going to training camp, the people who are going to be watching the preseason, is fundamentals. Don't be looking at, they're throwing short passes only, and they're not throwing deep passes, and they're not doing this, and why don't they do these plays, and why don't they? Because they're condensing it, and they're not showing the full playbook. Because why would you want to show your hand before the season starts? Just want to sprinkle a little of that on there. So before we get to practice, I'm going to give you some updates. Jalen Phillips, not Jordan. Jalen Phillips was out there. He was on the bike, but he had no pads on. He also had no compression sleeves, so hopefully we see him sooner than later. Xavier Howard eventually shows up, but he wasn't out there practicing. Neither was Devontae Parker, neither was Fuller, and neither was any of the people on the COVID list. Wilkins was the first one out there. Ahmed was out there with pads on, but he had a red jersey on, essentially do not touch after yesterday's scare. Marino was out there. And he gave Tua a little bit of instructions, and he talked to him a little bit before he sent him over to 3-on-3s, and that is where we will start with 3-on-3s. I got a bunch of videos for you guys in this area. Two with a nice fade to Robert Foster for a touchdown. I have that video to show you. Tua then talking to the wide receivers, essentially telling them the routes and the combinations and stuff, just kind of solidifying and fortifying that he knows this playbook because he's teaching the wide receivers the playbook. Then he had an incompletion over the middle, and then he had a nice touchdown to one of the receivers in the flat. Then Jacoby Brissett has a nice fade pass to Waddle. I got a video for you there. I hope I point. I notice I always point to the wrong side because I don't know what I'm going to do in editing. Brissett to Brown, one-handed catch in the flat for what would be a touchdown. Then the next three passes from Jacoby Brissett were incomplete. Tua incomplete, and then a touchdown over the middle. Then an almost pick, but was dropped. Jacoby Brissett with a touchdown to Albert Wilson, a nice bullet pass. Tua over the middle, throws it to Robert Foster. To a fade to Foster over Nick Needham. I have that video for you guys to look at. Then to a nice fade to Foster again over LeBlanc. I have that video for you guys to check out. And then Tua to Ford for a nice touchdown thread. And then a pass break up from a pass to Albert Wilson. Tua to Allen Hurns on a couple of tight window throws. Very nice to see those. Tua pass break up by Jamal Perry. I have a video for you guys to check that out. Jacoby Brissett with a nice pass to Mac Hollins on a curl route for a touchdown. Guess what? I got a video for you to check out on that. Tua throws a dime over Coleman with Wilson bringing it down for a nice touchdown there. Hunter Long worked through a reroute. So essentially Eric Rowe kind of jammed him, rerouted him, fought through it, drew a flag. So it was going to be PI, but still caught the touchdown. So that's a nice play there. And then Waddle runs a nasty route, essentially making his DB get completely confused. Love seeing that. Then they go to one-on-ones, which essentially is the D-line heading up against the O-line. Cameron Tom, who is the second team center, and I will talk about that in about 2 seconds. Nice rep against Benito Jones. Adam Butler completely bullying Liam Eichenberg. And Anedo is the Brazilian DT that is now one of our offensive linemen. Anchors very well. Then I got some notes for you before we get into 11-on-11s. Second time in 3 days, Zach Zeiler has been ahead of Christian Wilkins. Nick Needham was opposite of Rashad Jones. Jesus, Doug. Byron Jones. There's so many Jones. Brandon Jones, Byron Jones, and we had Rashad Jones. Too many Jones. Eichenberg playing left guard. So essentially the starting offensive line for today was Jackson, Eichenberg, Dieter, Hunt, and Davis. Moving Eichenberg from right tackle to left guard. I don't know why it took me so long to get that phrase out. And then we start 11-on-11s, full pads. And again, I just want to let you guys know a lot of running. First day of pads, they're, working on fundamentals. They're working on the run game. They're working on trench play. So a lot of runs. There's going to be good amount of tackles for loss. So I'm not going to keep saying handoff for nothing, handoff for nothing, handoff for nothing. I will talk about some of them, but if it's not a big play or something didn't happen, I'm not going to really talk about it because then I'm just going to bore you by keep saying so-and-so handed off to so-and-so for nothing. So-and-so handed off to you don't want to hear that. So first play, McKinney gets in the backfield, causes Gaskin to fumble, but he does get the ball back. They're saying that it would have just been a tackle for a loss and the fumble would have probably not happened. Whistle would have blown. 2-yard run on the next play, and then a false start by Austin Jackson. Big run up the middle by Malcolm Brown. Gets a nice hole from Dieter, who again is the starting center. It's Dieter, then Cameron Tom, and then can you guess who the third team center is? Good thing we're not paying him too much. Brought back though because of a holding call. I do have a video of that run. Handoff to Dokes. John Jenkins stuffs it in the backfield. Cameron Tom, again, second team center. Skura, third team. Hello, why? Vince Beagle with a nice stop on Laird going right, and then Butler stops Laird as well. Again, It's a very defensive dominant game, and I will game in camp, and I will talk about that at the end. Tight end Gabe Hobbs with Hubbard clears hold for Jordan Scarlett on the outside. Beagle gets another stop off of Jenkins stack up. So essentially, John Jenkins makes contact with the offensive lineman, and then Beagle goes around him to make the stop. Tua hands off to Gaskin. Nowhere. Tua to Gaskin. Stuffed up the middle by Zach Zeiler. Nowhere. McKinney dominated Smythe to get the tackle for loss. McKinney had a day today. They put the pads on. Bernardrick McKinney was like, time to play, boys. And he had a day today. McKinney to the back-to-back tackles for loss on Dokes with Byron Jones' help. Wilkins stopped tackle for loss. Then they take a break. Noah Igbenogany gets yelled at by Brian Flores. Not a good day by Noah today. Then they do a 2-on-1 tackling drill. Grant breaks Nick Needham's ankles. Jakeem Grant just shook him out of his shoes. Waddle does the same thing to Brandon Jones. And then Noah fights. Noah Igbenogany gets into a fight with Kai Loxley. Then they take a water break, which... The offensive line needs a water break after today because it don't get any better after that water break. Then it's a split field 11-on-11. Essentially, Tua and the first teamers on one side. Brissett and the second teamers are on the other side. 3 handoffs from Tua and Brissett. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Tua rolls to his left, finds Waddle for a first down. But the first time that the ball is actually moved. Front gets some push to give Gaskin a lane. Hunt engaged in on the second level. Look, a little sprinkle of hope and encouragement. Starting D-line is Agba, Davis, and Zeiler on the 3-4 defense. So Davis is running at that NT nose tackle. Garrett Dokes with a nice run, lower shoulder in the second level. Butler levels running back for a 3-yard loss. Again, very big defensive day. More handoffs for no gain. Again, I'm not going to keep boring you by saying the same thing over and over again. I'm hearing that Coleman is killing it in the slot and seems to be trending towards being the starting slot corner, which is fantastic to hear. Tua with a quick 2-yard pass and taking up the field, but it is brought back on a holding penalty. Gaskin gets stopped in the backfield by Nick Needham. Tua with a screenplay to Waddle, who does his thing, makes a few people miss, and takes it for 15 yards. Then they do some kick returns. Grant, Noah, and Waddle are doing kick returns. Stop putting Waddle back there, Miami. You're scaring the crap out of me. And then Wilson is on the modified guy reps. Essentially, he's getting limited reps, kind of like Jesse Davis and all these other guys. Then we get 11-on-11s. Back to that. Baker gets in the backfield. Can you guess for what? Yes, a tackle for a loss. Lots of handoffs. Lots of no gains. Tua pulls it down, scrambles for a first down. But for a fact, if they're not allowed to touch him, so we'll see what happens with that. Tua to Mac Hollins on a short slant, about 7 yards on that one. Kinley gets to the second level, pushes his punishing Doug block on the DB. McKinney and Nick Needham, a tackle for loss. McKinney shows why we traded for him. That wasn't written down from where I got it. That's just me telling myself, Doug, mention McKinney's having a day today, and there's a reason we traded for him. Kinley put on his butt by the D-line. Third day with the third teamers. It's not good for Kinley. Gaskin gets outside, 9-yard run, help from Austin Jackson. Tua rolls left, nowhere, throws the ball away. Smart. I prefer that than taking a sack or throwing an interception. Jacoby set through, speaking of interception, would-be pick to Jamal Perry, who's also having a nice day. And then they do some starting on the 1, right? So they back them up to their 1, and Jacoby Brissett and Tua get their shots of doing something. First play, false start by Robert Hunt. Fantastic. Then Zeiler almost gets a safety on Gaskin, who keeps the ball out of the end zone. Then Tua finds Durham Smythe in the flat. It was about a 5-yard pass. He takes it the rest of the way for a first down, getting away from the goal line. Then Agba gets around his guy as well as Jordan Scarlett for a would-be sack and safety. Tua has to get rid of the ball. And when he's in that area, he needs to not hold the ball on, especially that first down. You just got to get rid of the ball there. Ginkle then goes inside with a slight limp. Keep you updated on that. Brissett, then it's his turn, has a handoff, which again is almost a safety again. Brissett then has a tip pass almost picked by Jamal Perry. Again, big day by Jamal Perry as well. Then Brissett throws a 50-50 ball to Allen Hurns. He comes down with it for a nice 30-yard play. Offense celebrates a 6-yard run. It tells you how this offense has been doing today. Then Sinnett comes out. He does his thing. He hits Kirk. His biggest thing was he hit Kirk Merritt, who burnt Trill Williams for a deep pass about 35 yards. Then the last thing they do is they put the ball on the 2-yard line. Get in the end zone, boys. Wilkins stops Gaskin for a 1-yard gain. Then Tua hands off 2 more times. Nothing. They're done. Then Brissett comes out. Same thing, hands off, nothing. Then he does play action, tight end to Carson Meir, alone in the end zone. And then Brissett hands off to Scarlett, who gets stuffed, but on his second run, he bounces it outside Brennan Scarlett. Brennan Scarlett was the linebacker. Jordan Scarlett, I might have written these notes wrong, but the running back Scarlett, second effort, gets the touchdown, and that is today's camp. Again, the offense, not good in 11-on-11 full team. Now, is it the quarterback's fault? No. Neither. No run game. That being said, look at me. Do this. Do this with me. Ready? It is the first day of camp in pads. The defense is going to win the first day of camp in pads because it is way easier for the defense because all you got to do is just get after them. Take a deep breath. It is what, day 5 of actual camp, or 5 or 6 of actual camp, before the sky is falling, before the end of the world, before you say this team sucks, we suck, oh my God, we can't have a run game, we're going to suck, blah, blah, blah. Take a deep breath. There's a lot of camp left to go on. I literally said that the motto for today is iron sharpens iron. Essentially, this offensive line is going up, to me, against a really good defensive line. This defensive line is constantly getting penetration, constantly getting in the backfield. That is going to teach this offensive line what they need to do to stop that. They're going to be working against one of the best, not saying the best, but I think one of the best top 15 defensive line in the NFL, and constantly going up against them to learn how to stop it, what to do, technique, this and that. So it's going to make them stronger. Iron sharpens iron. So that when they go up against another team, when they go up against an inferior defensive line or whatever, they're like, well, our defensive line was harder. This is easy. And just start running people over. So take a deep breath. The sky isn't falling. It's the first day of pads. It's what, day 6, 7 of camp. First weekend. Everything's fine. Now, if this was after second preseason game, third preseason game, and the defensive line is still completely dominating, then I'm going to run around like my hair's on fire and say, oh my God, this season's going to be very hard to watch, because you guys know for a fact going into camp and offseason and whatever, my biggest fear was the offensive line. That is what worried me the most. And if I'm watching today's practice and I'm telling you to take a deep breath, just take a deep breath. We'll see how this pans out. I pray to God it pans out, but just take a deep breath. But yeah, today's top players, definitely McKinney, definitely Zeiler, Jamal Perry had a very good day today. I'm not giving anyone on the offensive line, nor anyone on the offense, it's the defense. It was a defensive day. But McKinney, Jamal Perry, Zeiler, probably top. Even Butler had really well. Jenkins did really well. Those are going to be my top guys. But be sure to comment below. I want you to first, in your comment, in parentheses, said, I took a deep breath, Doug. And then tell me your comment. But be sure to comment below. Let me know what you think of the first day of pads. Don't freak out. Just listen to what I say, and I'll get to your guys' comment of the day. And this one coincides. It's a perfect comment of the day from last camp, and it's from Fernando. And he says, comment of the day, with DJ Fluker's injury, should we go and sign Mitchell Schwartz? All-pro right tackle veteran to protect Tua's blind side, who should come at a discount this year. We need depth and experience with the O-line. We have the right wide receivers. If we give Tua time and space to the running backs of our offense, it's good to go. Very good question, especially coming on a day where the offensive line struggled. And I said this before camp started, in that month period where nothing was going on, right? And we were all asking, why aren't we going after Melvin Ingram? Why aren't we signing one of these running backs? Why aren't we doing anything? And I said that this is exactly why, right? And you make a very good point, right? DJ Fluker, unfortunately, we waived him with the injury clause. He got injured. So I had hoped that he would help us with depth on the offensive line. Very good point about bringing in Mitchell Schwartz, right? Right now, I would say it's a little premature to go off of what happened today to, hit the panic button and start signing offensive linemen. But it's a very good assessment because this is what the Dolphins are going to do, right? After today, Flores and Greer and the offensive line coach are going to sit down and they're going to have a conversation. Should we go after somebody? Should we bring in some more depth competition at the offensive line because they played really bad today in training camp? What should we do? And they're going to have that conversation. Someone's going to say, well, Mitchell Schwartz is out there. I know you moved Eichenberg to right guard. What do you think about putting him at right tackle? Blah, blah, blah. Maybe move Jesse Davis back to left guard. There's going to be those conversations. But I think if this trend continues, yes, they will add some offensive line because you cannot win in the NFL with the offensive line that played today. But very good question, Fernando. Hope I answered it. But that's the video. I will see you guys tomorrow with training camp day 8. I don't know if it's padded or not. I'll let you know on Twitter or whatever. Be sure to follow me on Twitter. Also, be sure to check out Backroom Collections. They got some new artwork. I'll pop it up. They said that if you want to do any specific stuff, you can hit them up directly on Twitter or on Facebook. So also use the promo code DouglieDoWrong. You get yourself 10% off on some very good artwork. Again, they don't just do NFL. Check out Patch Vibes. They have some fantastic patches, t-shirts, mugs, all that good stuff. Go check them out. Use the promo code DW. You get yourself 20% off. And Miami Sports Music. Great group of YouTubers, me, TD, K-Flexin, podcasters, all that great stuff. Go check it out. Other than that, I'll see you tomorrow with camp day 8. But like usual, stay classy. Take a deep breath. It's too early to freak out. We'll freak out together. When I start freaking out, you can freak out. Fins up.